Welcome to the pickup. I'm Will Lewis, and today's guest is Dawn Harvey. Hello, Dawn. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being here.
I couldn't be happier. And
Now,
my dog couldn't be happier either because I'm in my booth. My dog
okay,
doesn't usually get to sit on
yeah.
my lap in my booth, but he's getting to for the interview, so he's very happy.
Oh, is he really? What's your dog's name?
My dog's name is Danny, which is short for
Danny.
Danya. And Danya
Okay,
means
all right.
close or near in Arabic. And I rescued him last year. He came up from Texas, and he would not leave my side. So I needed to find a name that meant close, stuck to me. And it's
Now
Danya.
you live in Canada, and
I
you
do.
rescued a dog in Texas. There sounds like there's a story behind there.
Well, not really. Apparently, we don't have really very many small rescue dogs up here. Most of our
Hmm.
rescues come off the reservations and they're large dogs. And I wanted a
Hmm.
dog that I could put underneath the seat on the plane when I travel. I plan to travel a lot. And so I got this cute little Danny who is 12 pounds, who's just the perfect size to go under. We ship about, I don't know, 15 or 20 dogs up from Texas every couple of weeks and somehow find homes for them all. But
Wow.
what I didn't think about when I got Danny at 12 pounds was that he'd been living on the streets. And so once he got healthy, he is 18 pounds and he doesn't fit under any airplane seats, but he's cute.
Okay, now I'm gonna. Hopefully, some of our listeners here are as clueless as I am about pets on planes. Do you have to sneak a dog on a plane, or
No,
are they allowed? You
no,
don't. You don't.
no.
Okay.
You have to pay for them, and you
Okay.
can put them in a crate in the luggage. But oftentimes, dogs die. Oftentimes, so I am happier to bring them on the plane. You still have to pay for them,
Hmm.
but they have to be
Hmm.
small enough to fit into a little package that'll go underneath the seat in front of you, and they have to stay in that for the entire flight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those dogs must be really pretty good at holding the bathroom thing because if you're gonna carry a dog around in a purse for 6 hours, right? I mean, am I right? I mean,
Well, yeah, except for that, you know what? Now I've had 3 kids, so I don't have a great bladder, but I have to get up like once or twice in the night to go to the bathroom. And this little guy, he'll go like 14 hours. It's because sometimes I sleep a long time,
wow.
and I don't know how they do it, but anyway, they do.
Wow. I'm in awe. My hat goes off to you, Danny. It
Uh,
really does.
he's looking very proud at the moment.
Okay. So he understood what I said. All right.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So now, Dawn, you've narrated dozens of audiobooks, won a contract with Audible, beating out several hundred other voice actors to narrate Sex and the Single Girl. And soon, you're going to be teaching your very first narration class. How'd you get started in voice acting?
Oh my goodness. A very long story. Now I gave you the whole long story. Do you want me to give everybody the whole long story? It's really long.
Sure.
Um, I was one of these people when I was in high school, I couldn't decide whether I wanted to be an actress or a lawyer. So I started out going to uh, school to be an
Actress,
actress. I
lawyer.
know.
I don't think many people have that problem.
Well, the thing is, all those tests you take that tell you how your brain is, whether you're left-brained or right-brained, I'm like
Hmm.
equal. I'm left and right. So,
Hmm.
it's kind of good because I've got this analytical side as well as the creative side. So that makes me pretty versatile. But it also makes it really hard to figure out what the hell you're going to be when you grow up, right? So I decided I was going to be an actress, and then I got married, and courses didn't work out, and so I dropped out for what was supposed to be a short period of time. But in the end, it ended up being a long period of time. Um, I started trying to have babies, and that wasn't going real well. So by the end of pregnancy 5 with no babies, I decided that I wanted to go to law school and be a lawyer. If I wasn't going to have babies, then I wanted a career. So I went to law school, and then later I actually got a master's of law. But in third year law, I had a baby. So, sometimes you think you're not going to get anything and then you end up with everything. So now I was a lawyer with a baby, and I went and practiced law for a little while, and I practiced family law. I thought that would be a really good place for me. But it turned out it really wasn't a good place for me and probably because of my creative side, I cry at every little episode of Little House on the Prairie and the Coke commercials, and I cry all the time. And all these things just rip at my heartstrings. And so I'd be sitting in court waiting for them to call my case, and there would be some real tearjerker story always in family court that would have me in my chair sobbing, praying that the judge didn't call me next. You know, because you don't want to stand up front as the lawyer crying, because that's just bad. So I had to make a decision whether I wanted to harden myself so that though nothing bothered me, which is the only way you can survive in that profession, or leave it. And I decided I like being the kind of person who cries at Little House on the Prairie. So I left it. I came back to Calgary, which is kind of where I had been before I went to law school, and went back to the oil industry, which I had been doing before I went to law school. But with a law degree, the work that I got was better and I was more respected and blah, blah, blah. So that was going well. But I was really missing the creative side, the artsy side. You know, I'd done community theater off and on during all those years, but I wanted more. I wanted it all back. So I started doing more community theater, and at the same time, my knees got shot. So I had really bad arthritis in both of my knees, and I was, in my early 40s, and it was looking like, if I was going to get a couple knee replacements, it wouldn't be very long till I couldn't walk, and how could I perform if I couldn't walk? And so that led me finally to voice acting, because I could sit in a wheelchair and still perform. Now, as it turns out, I've had both my knees replaced and everything's great. So now I have kids and a law degree and a voiceover career and a film career. And, I just have it all now, which means I never get to rest anymore.
And if I'm following the progression of all this correctly, I think that had it not been for Little House on the Prairie, you would still be in corporate law. Am I following?
I think that's something you could extrapolate from that story. Yes. No. Because you'd have to also take away the Coke commercials. And no, I'm just a suck.
And if not Little House on the Prairie, maybe something else.
It would absolutely be something else.
Mary Tyler Moore. I don't know if that was I never watched it.
Well, I saw The Judge yesterday. And it's not a tearjerker film, but it brought tears to my eyes about 12 times. So it's hopeless.
Well, that's the Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
Film with Robert Duvall. Yeah.
Yes, and Robert Downey Jr. does undo his shirt, and it's worth going just for that.
Well, they had to get the beefcake in there somewhere. They got to put female butts in the seats. So there you go.
Yeah, he puts them there. But anyway, it was a good show, and we digress.
Okay, so let's go back just a little bit. You mentioned that you started out in college studying theater. Is that right?
Correct.
For a year, and you studied at. Now, most people in the States probably are not familiar with this, but there is a university in Vancouver called University. Am I right about that?
Okay, I'm in Calgary.
You're in Calgary.
Yeah, and
but university that you attended, where's that?
Was the University of Calgary.
The University of Calgary. Okay.
Right.
So when you say that you spent a year studying theater at university, are you talking about university in Vancouver, or are you talking about a university in Calgary?
University in Calgary. A university in Calgary, yes.
There's a university in Calgary.
There's a couple universities in Calgary now.
Okay. Oh, there are.
Yeah, we have very few colleges up here. We have a lot of universities and a few colleges, some of which have now also become universities.
Well, maybe I'm wrong about this. Is there a university called University in Vancouver?
In Vancouver, there is Capilano College. There's UBC, which is University of British Columbia. There is a university in Abbotsford, which I think is called the University of... I don't think there's anything just called university. It would always be University of... and then wherever it is, whether it's UBC
I'm going to go back and check that because I'm thoroughly confused. I thought there was... Because when I was doing some... we buy screenplays sometimes to produce, and we were looking at the screenwriting department at one of the universities up there, and the name on the website was University. And I thought, well, University of what?
Okay. Well, I just Googled it because that's the kind of girl I am. And there is an AI university, which is the Art Institute University. And there's UBC, and there's Capilano, and there's Simon Fraser, and there's one on Vancouver Island called UVic.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're crazy.
Well, I blame the crawfish that we eat down here.
Okay. Crawfish are good.
Yeah, except when they make you crazy. Okay, but at any rate, maybe I can get to this question by the time we finish this interview.
Okay.
You studied theater at a university for a year. Okay,
Correct.
You started out, you wanted to go either stage acting, film and TV, whatever. And so very early on, life came calling for you, right? Because of a lot of the stuff that you just shared with us.
Mm-hmm.
And you ended up, instead of acting, going into law. Okay, so did you ever think, in those years that you were sort of diverted from what you wanted to do, did you ever think you'd be able to get back into acting?
Well, for a period of time, I was happy just to do some stuff in community theater and have that be enough because, I had a full-time career as a lawyer, which is pretty demanding. And I had by the end of the day, well, by the time I left Vancouver, I had 2 kids and a nanny and a house to run. And, that was enough. But I guess once I came back here and I was back in the oil industry where it wasn't really demanding and the kids were getting older and it wasn't enough for me anymore. I needed to go back and let my creative side again rule me. And so it does now. I get to be crazy now. It's great.
And while you were doing the balancing between being a mom, a corporate lawyer, you, as you mentioned, developed some health problems with your knee.
Yeah, that actually happened after I went to law school in Halifax, and then I practiced in Vancouver. And then we moved back to Calgary, and I got pregnant again with my 3rd child. And I don't know what happened. By the end of that pregnancy, my knees had started to go. And within a few years, I was, needing knee replacement. And as I said, really young. So it's not something doctors like to do at that age.
Mm-hmm. And at that time, what was your biggest concern regarding, the problem with your knees?
Well, it was, being so young, I was going to pretty much not be able to walk if they wouldn't replace my knees. At one point, I was on medication and it was pretty well handled, but I can't remember the time period. Sometime around the turn of the century, like 2000, there was a problem with a bunch of the arthritis medications and people were dying or stroking out or something. So they took my particular med off the market and my doctor gave me a different one. And within a few months, I was unable to walk except with canes. And fortunately, the medicine came back that I was able to take again. But that's how bad it was, that without the appropriate medication, I'm 42 years old. I can't walk more than 3 blocks. I can't swim. I can't go bike riding. I can't do anything because the pain is so intense. And without the medication, I can't even walk. So I had got back into theater at that point and had started actually working more on film because, I still had to support my family. I was a single mom. And so I couldn't quite quit my day job and be a waitress, especially with my knees. But I started studying film acting more because in film acting, you can work and get paid a decent amount of money without as big a time commitment. So I could still, sort of do the creative things I wanted to do while still managing the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. And when you had all that going on with the issue with the medical issue with your knees, your pregnancy history, did that factor at all into your concerns? Because you'd mentioned that you'd lost a few pregnancies along the way.
Well, I actually, at the end of the day, I had 10 pregnancies and 3 children. And, I would have stopped a long time ago. I would never have had 10 children. But that's how many we got to get to baby number 3. And I went through a lot.
Can I say that sounds pretty determined. That sounds pretty like you had your mind set.
Well, I was one of those girls who was always going to be a mom. Like, I loved babies. I'm just a crazy woman around babies. And so, I realized kind of recently in reflection that I pretty much missed the 80s because during that time I went through 5 lost babies. And that's really hard on a person. So, that whole period of time is just a blur. And how I managed to do anything like going to law school is beyond me. But it affected me a great deal and is, part of why I lost part of myself for that period of time. I just wasn't in a headspace where I could be useful in anything except, really dry academic, I guess, probably. My emotions were too wrapped up in the pain I was suffering psychologically at that time. I don't remember what your question was. Did I answer it?
Yeah, well, the question was, while you were, having to deal with the knee issue, how did your experience, and as you mentioned, the psychological difficulty and pain of losing, pregnancy again and again, I just imagine it compounded the whole knee situation.
Well, the baby situation was pretty much resolved before the knee situation came to be, because it was after my last baby that the knees got bad. So,
okay.
And I can't explain it. When people ask me, what happened to my knees, I tell them it's because I was playing too much football with the Calgary Stampeders, because I got no excuse. So pretending I was rolling around with the boys makes, as good a story as any. It's probably because I fell down too much. It's probably what it is, but that's not a good story.
Now, you mentioned the psychological burden of having to go, of going through so many failed pregnancies. Mm-hmm. Was there ever a point where you just wanted to say that I'm not going through that again?
Well, I went to law school because I thought, well, and every lost baby was a different reason, I had 3 ectopic pregnancies, which anybody who knows anything about that is like, it's ridiculous that I had 3 pregnancies. I lost a tube. I still managed to have all these babies. But, some I didn't have enough. My hormone levels were too low. And then my ovary was in the wrong position. And it was just one stupid thing after another. And so by the time I went to law school, I hadn't given up, but it seemed pretty clear to me that the odds of it ever happening were so small that I would just put it in the back of my mind and go ahead with my life, which is why I went to law school. And then I got pregnant again when I was there and immediately lost that one as well. And at that time, the doctor in Halifax said, well, we're going to put you on hormones, which they'd never done here because I kept getting pregnant. So they're like, well, getting pregnant's not a problem. There's no reason to give you hormones. But then at that point, the hormone levels weren't working. So they gave me hormones and boom, I had a baby. So now I'm in law school and I have a baby, which is not what was supposed to have happened, right? Mm-hmm. And again, I lost track of your question again.
No, that's okay.
I gotta write these questions down.
Well, no, it's okay because it's something that a lot of couples struggle with.
Yeah.
And some of them spend tens of thousands of dollars on fertility treatments.
Well,
women and men freeze their eggs and their sperm sometimes. So it's.
I looked at the in vitro process. It was something process, and that's something that we were talking about. But again, if you know anything about the in vitro process, it is so, so difficult on your psyche, your entire life, particularly for the woman. I mean, the man doesn't need to do a lot, right? One visit and he's done. But the woman is every day focused on getting injections and making sure the hormone levels are at the right amount and going into the hospital every day. And your entire being is completely focused on getting pregnant. And the success rate, we're talking the 80s, success rate was pretty low, like 1 in 10 chance or something. And for most people, you go through all of that plus the money, and then you don't get pregnant. And then you have to go through that huge letdown and depression that will accompany that immediately. And, all the power to the people that do it. I didn't have the strength. I thought, I cannot do that to myself. I've been through enough. So I never went that route.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I bet you never thought this is what our interview was going to be about. Let's talk about how to have problems having babies.
When you're in the pickup, you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's why it's called the pickup. Okay, so right now you've got a recurring role in a TV series. Tell us about that.
I do. Well, I live in Calgary, so there's not a lot of work here for people in film. We have right now actually 5 television series shooting here and the occasional feature film and stuff, but they don't cast any of the roles out of Calgary, except for the one line, would you like sugar with that? Everything else is cast out of Vancouver, Toronto, LA. So they don't even, so they don't even look at us. So that makes for limited
So they bring Vancouver actors to Calgary.
Absolutely.
To feel these.
If anybody has any talent, they don't live here. They would live in Vancouver or Toronto if they had talent. So that's kind of the attitude you get. So you don't even get an audition for those roles. And then if you're a woman, like if we look at the TV series that are shooting here, there's almost no roles for women. And if there are roles for women, they're 20 and, beautiful and a stick. That's the only roles there are. So there's a lot of women here who like to get more work. So the TV series that I'm in started out as a web series initially for a woman who was doing an apprenticeship program, and she had an assignment to write and shoot a scene of 4 women sitting around a table, or 4 people sitting around a table. So she did that, and she called some of her actor friends and said, hey, you want to come and play Friday afternoon with me? I have to do this project. And so we went and did it, and it was called The Poker Girls. And it was so fun that we said, well, let's do it every week. So every week she'd write a script, and every Friday afternoon we'd shoot it at her house. Poker Girls ended up becoming a 1-hour pilot, which then it was directed by the fellow who had been her coach while she was apprenticing, and written by my friend Jewel Caldwell. And a friend of the director's is Judy Norton, who was Mary Ellen on the Waltons. And she came up and played the role of my boss. I'm a drunk judge, and she played my boss who had, fired me for being a drunk judge. Subsequent to that, we wrote, or not me, Jewel and Judy wrote half a dozen half-hour episodes of what became Bluff. So it started as Poker Girls. It was an undercover crime drama sort of show. But the name Poker Girls, if you Google Poker Girls, a lot of naked women come up. So we changed it to Bluff, which is, again, still related to poker, but it's playing the bluff. And so we we recut the first episode and shot another 5. And so we have a 6-episode season, which we had sold to some independent people. And, we're really having a hard time getting traction, getting producers on top of it and getting it shown. But apparently we have now been picked up by the Fox network, and we are fully funded to shoot season 2. And so all those wheels are turning. And right now you can buy the first 6 episodes of Bluff on Amazon, but next year it should be available on the Fox networks, and season 2 should be up as well. So that's what I'm hearing. No contracts have been signed by me. They may kill my character. You never know. But that's where we are right now. You just
with a bag of pretzels, maybe.
you just don't know. Yeah. But I mean, that's one of the exciting things about all of this kind of work, voiceover and film, is, anytime the email tings or the phone rings, you just don't know what's going to be on the other end. And so it's often lots of exciting things like, having Will Lewis say, hey, do you want to get interviewed? For sure. How fun is that?
Yeah, well, speaking of fun, Dawn, I know that you're a little familiar with our format. And so now we're at that point in the interview where it's time for a little free association.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Are you ready? Take a deep breath.
I'm going to put both of my hats on, my analytic side and my creative. Let's see what comes out.
Okay. All right. Try to relax.
Okay.
Okay. I'm happiest when I'm...
watching a wonderful show on TV in my bed with my dog at my side, cuddling with me.
I'm sad when...
When someone is suffering.
10 years from now, I don't want to be...
working at any oil companies ever again.
I prefer blank over sleep.
Oh, my. Sleep's my favorite thing. I don't prefer anything over sleep. I love sleeping. Can I say that? I got nothing. A hot bubble bath. That's maybe it. Not even.
Okay. Well, what's something that you when's the last time you stayed up all night? What were you doing the last time you stayed up all night?
Oh my God. You know how old I am? I haven't stayed up all night in a last time I stayed up all night is probably being bumped from one flight to another trying to get home from somewhere. And that wasn't fun.
You had no say in that.
No. If I imagine, what would I stay up all night for? Laying on a beach watching a sky full of stars. How's that? That would be great.
Okay. The one moment I wish I could relive is...
Okay, so a great moment I'd like to relive. I guess it would be the first half hour after the birth of my first child. With way more energy, because it was a 26-hour labor. If I could do it again with more sleep, that would be great.
First half hour.
First half hour of being a mom after all those years of trying.
Tell us what that was like.
Well, I was exhausted because I had 3 hours sleep before I went into labor, and then it was a 26-hour labor. But, I guess as the mom, I knew she was going to be a real human for quite some time, because my pregnancies had all terminated very early, and this one was definitely not terminating. So I guess just relief and happiness, and I guess a feeling that, for every mother, for every parent, your life is never going to be the same. But the sadness being put behind me was maybe something that would be different for me than it would be for most parents. So, yeah, all that was good.
For 30 minutes. What happened in minute number 31?
I was asleep. I'm like, take the baby, I have to sleep.
The one person I wish I could be friends with is...
I'd like to be friends with Malala. The girl from...
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Or is it Pakistan?
No, one of those Indian countries. The one who just won the Nobel Peace Prize. Oh, and then gave all the money to her country to help rebuild schools. This is like, what, a 15-year-old kid? She's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And why her?
Because she's so young and she's done so much already, and she's fearless, and she's thinks of everyone. You know, most 15-year-olds, if you gave them $50,000, they wouldn't be giving it away, right? And so I think she's just really special. She's somebody who I wish that I could be younger so that I could see what she's going to accomplish in her life, because I see brilliant things for her. And it would just be really nice to be her friend and be along for the ride and, you know, be able to support her and applaud her and share with her all the great adventures she's going to have and the great things she's going to bring to the planet.
If I could no longer be a voice actor, I would be...
Okay, can I say a film actress, or do I have to say no to that too? If I couldn't do anything like that, acting in any way?
Okay, so we'll accept film actress.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do a follow-up question.
Okay.
If I could no longer be a voice actor or a film actress, I would be...
At this point in my life, I think I'd just like to be a writer now. I've got things I want to say and not enough time to say them. So, a writer.
A writer?
Yeah.
What would you write?
Well, people keep telling me, you know, I've had so many varied and interesting experiences in my life. People are always like, you have to write those down. So I would write a book just of my experiences and learnings. I've got a couple of novels in my head that I have outlines for, but you know, haven't sat down to write. And I'm actually working on writing a book on audiobook narration right now.
So it sounds like you'd start out with writing your memoirs. Is that right?
Yeah, that's one of the things I'd be working on. You know, and I've kind of been working on it in my head a little bit. I'm not sure how it would all go together. I think right now it would just be a series of anecdotes, and whether then I would then group them by category or by date, I don't know. And there's some stuff in there that I'd like to say that I'm not sure I'm brave enough to discuss. So maybe that's for an addendum published after I'm gone.
And if your book turned into a bestseller and was produced as a feature film, who would play you?
At what age? Let me
Who would
think.
play you at 40?
Me at 40. Oh, God. I'm just going to go with Sandra Bullock because I love her, so she can be me. She can be me.
Who would play you now?
Oh, Meryl Streep, of course.
And who would play your daughter now?
Who would play my daughter? I don't know. Some child who takes everything for granted and... Okay, don't tell her I said that. Who would play my daughter?
What's her name? Ellen...
Brittany.
No. The actress.
Ellen DeGeneres?
Ellen Page, I think is her name. Ellen Page.
Yeah.
Played in X-Men,
Oh, maybe that cute little redhead who played in, that film about The Help. The Help, that's what it's called, The Help.
Oh, that's, what is her name? She was in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name, but I know who
she
you're
looks like
talking
the
about.
type. She's the type.
Okay.
Now, my
And what about
daughter has a brilliant voice, so it would have to be someone who can sing opera.
Oh, really?
Kind of singing. Yeah, she's brilliant voice.
Your daughter's done a little writing too, right?
Yes, that's right. She's been writing prolifically since she was 12 or 13 or something. She just doesn't share it with anyone. Maybe
Now,
someday.
who would Yeah. Well, you know, when you get the tickets to the premiere, maybe you'll get a chance to. And what about your sons? Who would play your sons now?
Well, I have two sons, and one is 6'7" and one is 6'6". So you got some big boys in Hollywood, because that's going to have to play them.
Okay, so one The Rock and maybe the other The Big Show. Huh?
Okay.
Those are wrestlers.
Okay, yeah. My older son could definitely have a wrestler build because he's a big boy. But my little guy, well, he's not little, he's 6'7", but he's like 6'7" and 200 pounds. So you need a stick for that. No wrestlers for him. A stick person.
My children would be surprised to know that I
don't think I can say anything on the air. Nothing would surprise them except for things I'm keeping secret.
Stop the tape.
My children would be surprised. I don't know. I have no idea.
You're going to pass on that one? You can pass.
As you might have noticed, I'm kind of an open book, so very little I ever did would surprise them. They'd be surprised to ever see me drunk. They've never seen me drunk because I basically don't drink, but occasionally I do. Because it's not like, I'm allergic or anything like that. I just don't like the taste, so I don't usually drink. So they wouldn't be surprised to see me drunk.
Okay.
And it would be very fun, I'm sure.
If 3,000 years into the future, one of your descendants discovered a 30-second segment of this interview, which part would you want it to be?
The part where I was talking about why I'd want Malala to be my friend.
That's important to you.
Yeah. Because, one of the things about me that I kind of like is how I am concerned for and care about sort of the planet and the people on it, and Malala does too. And so I have that commonality with her. So, I just would like them to know that about me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Dawn, thank you very much for joining us. I hope it was...
Goodbye. Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed it, and it was very painless.
I only brought tears to my eyes about a half a dozen times or so. So, good on you.
Well, here is a Skype tissue for you.
Oh, thank you. I'll just rub my face on Danny.
Now, how can people follow your projects and what you're up to and keep in touch with what you're doing?
Well, I have, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I have a website, The Dawn of Voice is the name of my company. And so it's www.dawnofvoice.com or .ca, either one will get you there. And, I'm so busy that I'm not keeping up with my blog posts as much as I'd like to, but I will try to do better in the future. But I also on Pinterest I have all of the books I've narrated, although I'm a little bit behind in putting them up there. I have them all up on Pinterest. So if you go there, you can see what I'm working on, and there's links to purchase things I've already done and stuff like that. I found a business use for Pinterest. I was very excited.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I found a business use for Pinterest, which made me very excited, because before that, it was like about shoes, which I don't have time for. So
Pinterest is is that the one with the pictures? You put the pictures on?
Yeah, you pin things that you're interested in. So I thought it was a really great place to put my audiobooks, so people can go there, see what I've narrated, and you can click to links to Audible or wherever to purchase them. So.
And there are links to your Facebook and Twitter on your website.
Yes, right? Yes, I'm sure there are. Okay. Yes, I just had my website redone.
Dawn of Voice.
That's me.
Okay. All right. dawnofvoice.com. That's it. Okay. Now, you also, I'm sure, Dawn, know that at the end of our program, we always have our guest play us out with something unique about them, something that only they can do. And I know that you don't play guitar, or do you play guitar?
Well, I used to, but I can't with my nails. I could sing for you. I can sing for you a cappella.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because word on the street is that your voice is well suited for suspense, right?
Okay.
And since we just went through Halloween this past weekend, I thought, Dawn, if you were willing, that maybe you could play us out with a Halloween song.
Oh my gosh. There's one that I remember singing in elementary school I could give you.
What's the name of it? Is it Skin and Bones?
No, I don't know what the name is. I just know the words. Okay, I'm going to have to back up from the mic. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, and I also just, I had one just in case as a backup. I just emailed you one too that I used to sing when I was little, so maybe we can do both of them.
Okay, but I have to open up my email. I shut it down so it wouldn't ding at us. I don't know if I know the other one. I'll just wing the tune. Or is it like
Well, let's
to the
just hear.
tune of...
Let's hear yours.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hear
Okay,
yours
here's mine.
and see what happens.
Okay. Stirring and stirring and stirring my brew. Ooh, ooh. Tip, toe, tip, toe, tip, toe. Boo! How's that?
All right. That's pretty darn scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
That's
sorry,
that's
baby.
Dracula. That's a vampire.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I see
Yeah,
I see your script
No,
there.
is it a witch? Is it a witch? Oh yeah, because vampires don't stir brood. That's a witch.
No, it's a witch song.
Okay. Yeah. See how long it's been since I've been trick or treating. I don't know the difference between a witch and a vampire.
Ah, that's okay. You're getting old, Will. We'll forgive you.
Yeah, well, it happens. It happens. But the song that I sent you is called "Skin and Bones." It's something that we used to sing at my grade school, and it's, if I can give you the rhythm, it was sort of like.
There was an old woman of skin and bones. Ooh, ooh. Like that?
Yeah. And sort of like, ooh. I'll tell you what. If you
Okay.
if you do the verses, I'll do the chorus with you. How's that sound?
Okay.
The chorus is ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
This is gonna be great. I like okay. I like this. This is great. I get to sing with Dawn Harvey.
Whew, boy, let me tell you.
Okay, so whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hopefully I have the tune right. There was an old woman all skin and bones. Ooh. She lived down by the old graveyard. Ooh. Am I close? One night she thought she'd take a walk.
Ooh.
She walked down by the old graveyard. Ooh. She saw the bones a-laying around. Ooh. She went to the closet to get a broom. Ooh. She opened the door and